I was wrong about the All Blacks. I predicted that England would find a way to beat them at Twickenham, and so in this video, I'm here to put my hand up and admit I did not get that right. But my main goal today isn't just to subject myself to eating humble pie and enduring public flagellation. No, I wanted to make this video because I've never been so happy to be wrong. And I'm going to explain to you how it is that the All Blacks have evolved their game, allowing them to have this win that is a big breakthrough for their mental resilience. Now, the reason behind my initial prediction wasn't just to be controversial or clickbaity. I never want to do that on this channel. I also don't want to be a mindless All Blacks cheerleader, because even though most of you are Kiwis who love the men in black as much as I do, I don't think it's that helpful if I predict them to win 100% of the time, even if there are some signs that they could be in danger. Yes, my heart is always going to bleed black, but once in a while, I'm going to have to go with the opposition if I see something pretty clear and obvious. And I felt that I saw that with England. I have absolutely no regrets. 9 times out of 10, George Ford kicks that penalty goal, and the English would have been able to hold on by the skin of their teeth and close out that game. Lady Luck was on our side. And while this was a huge step forward for the All Blacks, let's not forget that they were about this many inches wide from a disastrous loss. Yes, I may have got the outcome wrong, but much of what I predicted actually did play out. The All Blacks line-out was unsettled. It meant they couldn't get great ball. Now, part of that was Maro Itoje, but he was less influential than he was earlier this year in Dunedin and Auckland. I think part of the problem was losing Cody Taylor and then losing Tupou Vaa'i in the 41st minute. He seems to be the chief line-out caller, and Asafo Amua did not have good chemistry with the men he was throwing to. Too often the All Blacks tried to go over the back, which is a perilous game to play against a team with a rush defense like England, and that tactic didn't really work out for the All Blacks. I also predicted that England would bring a lot of heat with their rush defense, and to a certain extent that was true. The All Blacks were skillful enough to get around that umbrella white defense. But often, the English were rocking the ABs back in midfield with a venomous line speed that not even South Africa matched. But the real reason that I tipped the Red Rose to score an upset win was the quality of their loose forwards. Yes, I felt that we might run into breakdown trouble against the trio of Chandler Cunningham-South, Tom Curry, not to mention his brother waiting on the bench, and Ben Earl. If the English were able to control the breakdown the way they did against Ireland in that Six Nations game earlier this year, I felt the ABs might be in trouble. In fact, it was almost 50 minutes into the game before the first turnover occurred. The All Blacks were basically able to neutralize the English at the breakdown. However, there was a concerted period in the second half when the English loosies started hitting the breakdown. It's no wonder that that was when England grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. So why didn't the English score a more emphatic victory in the loose forwards? His name is Wallace Sititi, and he is one of the reasons that the All Blacks were able to get across the line yesterday. He was the man of the match, but he's also brought a physicality, a solidity to the New Zealand breakdown, to the defense around the fringes. His presence out there brought an X factor that the All Blacks didn't have 6 months ago. And I am absolutely stoked about that, as I'm sure you are if you're a New Zealand fan. I want to give a shout out to Forever VFC for your super chat. I really appreciate it. You know, these tips help the channel grow. They help me put more time into making these videos. That'll help me keep improving the quality over time. If you would like to contribute to growing this channel, here's what I ask you to do. Leave a super chat with a question, and I'll answer it on video next week. I'd be deeply appreciative if you do leave a super chat. But something else didn't materialize, and that was England's territory game. You see, England only managed 57% territory to New Zealand's 43%. Sure, that's still dominant, but England has gone into the mid-60s at times. I mean, these guys are capable of playing down the right end of the field and taking the 3 points like no one else. What was pleasing was that the All Blacks were able to somewhat nullify the English kicking game, and I think the back three of Caleb Clark, Will Jordan, and Mark Talea overall did a great job on counter-attack and generally returned the ball with interest. Even if you might feel the English shaded them in the kicking overall, it certainly wasn't an emphatic arse-whooping. And frankly, England can do that with their kicking game sometimes. But guys, here is the single biggest factor in why I stuck with my original English prediction, and boy am I glad to be wrong about this. I felt that if New Zealand had a fourth quarter fade like they have so many times this year, they would be in real danger. And I believe that assessment was accurate. They would have been in trouble. That game would have slipped away. But here's the great news from a New Zealand perspective. The bench brought impact this week. Patrick Tuipulotu was phenomenal around the field, and he brought a calming presence. D-Mac obviously iced the game with 2 clutch kicks and looked creative on attack. And that's a good thing because it looks like he will be starting against Ireland this weekend, given that Beauden Barrett failed his head injury assessment, as did Cody Taylor, by the way, causing a hooker reshuffle, but we'll get to that in a couple of days. And let's not forget the spark and composure that Cam Roigard brought to the table. Yes, finally, the All Blacks have a bench that is a weapon again. I was worried we might backslide in that aspect of the game, and it turns out I needn't have. The All Blacks truly have evolved their bench, and no one is happier about that than me. So I stand by my prediction that if the English played to their potential, they would have got the win. I just don't think they played to their potential in the end. I think this team has more upside, and if you're an English fan, I'm here to tell you that you got a lot to be optimistic about. When these guys really click, when they get that extra 5 or 10% cohesion, and if they can just boost their attacking power a little bit more, they're going to be a frightening team, and they will be a Rugby World Cup contender in Australia in 2027. Mark my words. If I predict a team to beat New Zealand, I'm going to have good reasons for it. And I'm actually glad I had the opportunity today to expand upon some of those reasons of why I thought England could edge out the All Blacks. And hell, if they keep improving their game, one of these days they will. But this weekend, the spoils go to the All Blacks. Can't wait for Ireland. I'll be back to break down that game during the week. And guys, I'll see you then. Take it easy. Bye for now.